Hello and welcome to the New York Sports Show, your number one all New York sport podcast. I'm your host, Dominic Konoweski. We are currently streaming live on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. So thank you all for tuning in to this special episode. So we saw last night the New York Knicks going up against the Atlanta Hawks for Game 5 of the 2021 NBA playoffs, Round 1. Now, at the final buzzer, it ended up leading to the New York Knicks being eliminated as the Hawks won the series 4-1. But what the New York Knicks completed in the regular season and even in the playoffs, getting that one win and then just the playoff series in general is something truly special. And we're going to talk about that and just go over the New York Knicks 2020-2021 NBA season. So starting off in the offseason, the Knicks hired Tom Thibodeau, who has just been a legendary coach. A lot of people compared him to Bill Belichick of the NFL. But going into the season, day one, game one, the New York Knicks had the same exact roster, okay? No big off-season moves, no big free agent trades, nothing like that, same exact players. And the season before, the New York Knicks only won 21 games, okay? So going into the season, many people didn't even think that the Knicks would win close to 30 games. Many people predicted the Knicks to win around 15 to 20 games. Now, myself, I remember doing a video at the beginning of the season, I think it was a week or two before, saying that the New York Knicks would win 30-plus games and they would make the playoffs, okay? Me, I've been a New York Knicks fan since the 2009-2010 season, and I love my New York Knicks, and I truly believe in them. And you know what? They did exactly that. At season's end, the New York Knicks would have a 41-31 win-loss record, being the fourth best team in the Eastern Conference and end up making the playoffs. The New York Knicks blew everybody away. And even by the end of the season, they had almost the same exact team that they started with. The only difference is, I feel like the biggest move was the Austin Rivers trade. And it was just the tiny players that weren't really producing that ended up going in. Of course, the Detroit Pistons trade, which led the Knicks to get Derrick Rose, that played a huge part in the season, especially the back end of the season, that ended up having the Knicks really propel themselves into the playoffs with what was a truly amazing 9-game winning streak. So, the Knicks have star player Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, okay? Julius Randle, with all due respect to Julius Randle, he was a nobody going into the season, okay? He was, I would say, maybe a B-, even a C+ player. He has not done anything big in his career up to this point. Crappy three-point percentage numbers, crappy field goal numbers, and I would say mediocre free throw numbers. This season, it changed everything. Julius Randle hit more three-pointers this season than he did up to his career before the 2020-2021 NBA season, which is something that's truly amazing and so hard to do. He would end up getting the Most Improved Player award, which he rightfully deserves. And then you have RJ Barrett, who's in his second season. The 20-year-old from Duke was just dropping bucket after bucket, getting over 20 points many games. Okay, RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, they walked. It was just like peanut butter and jelly in a sandwich. Those two players, they were meant to be teammates. But then you gotta look. Mitchell Robinson, injury, comes back, plays a few games, back on the IL, another injury. When Mitchell Robinson went and the All-Star break came and went, the Knicks were just in a horrible situation, going on a very big losing streak. At one point, they were totally out of playoff contention. And a lot of people truly believe that the Knicks, they were done for. They had a good first half of the season. Second half is just going to be very mediocre, and they would end up missing the playoffs. If I'm correct, I'm the only one in a New York Knicks group chat of over 30,000 people that said that the New York Knicks would still make the playoffs and be in the top 5 seeding-wise. And you know what? They did. Not saying I was right, but I'm saying I was right, folks. So, New York Knicks end up going on a massive 9-game winning streak to really cap off the season. And it was undisputable, okay? At season's end of the regular season, at least, the New York Knicks were the best basketball team in the NBA, both stat-wise and the final stretch-wise win-loss record when you look at that in the last 10 games played. Okay, the New York Knicks took down many big teams, and when they were going up against the teams such as the Brooklyn Nets, the Clippers, and the Suns, you know, they were able to contend with them. It was not blowout losses, okay? Did the Knicks win all those games? No, they did not. But they always kept close games, and at many points they were leading the games. Even if it was by just one bucket, they were still leading, they were still contending. They were just not ruled out from the get-go. The New York Knicks were contending with big teams this season, okay? And I gotta say, the amount of the fans in the stadiums, that they were able to make that much noise just goes to show how many diehard New York Knicks fans there are, and just how New York is the mecca of all sports. You know, you look at New York, you got the New York Yankees. No matter where you go in the country or in the world, you always see at least one person with a New York Yankee hat on or a New York Knicks hat on, okay? The New York Knicks and the New York Yankees are truly the top sport teams in America and in the world, or at least inside the top 10 in the world. Okay, the Knicks had a lot of pressure. They did not make the playoffs for 8 seasons. 2012-2013 NBA season was the last time that they even touched playoff basketball. And they ended up making it. 4th seed, like I said earlier. So they go up against the Atlanta Hawks that had the same exact record as them, but the Knicks won the season series. So the Knicks ended up getting the 4th seed. Atlanta Hawks getting seed number 5. So New York goes into the playoffs, ended up dropping the first game, but then they end up getting the second one back at Madison Square Garden. Spike Lee was jumping up and down. He was, I think, one of the happiest people there. Now, that would be the only positive moment as Julius Randle fell apart, R.J. Barrett fell apart, Derrick Rose getting some starting minutes, Elfrid Payton benched, who started all but 3 games this season for the New York Knicks. The biggest thing with the Knicks is they were not out-coached, but they were outplayed. The Atlanta Hawks were just covering Julius Randle, who just went off on them in the regular season series. At one point, you had 4 guys just doing a quadruple coverage on Julius Randle, and he just did not pass the ball, and he ended up shooting. That's why he went 6 for 24 in one game. Okay? The New York Knicks, I do believe that they could have made it into the next round, but what they have done and what they have set themselves up for going into next season is truly amazing. You will not see that a lot in the sports world in general. The Knicks, who were projected to win 15 games, won 41 games, ended up upsetting everybody and made the playoffs. That is something that you would see maybe once in a lifetime if you're lucky. Everybody underestimated the New York Knicks. They are the true version of an underdog, okay? New York Knicks, a true underdog story. What the Knicks did, I am honored to see. And the fact that I was able to report about that, I am honored to see. Okay, Tom Thibodeau deserves Coach of the Year. Tom Thibodeau did a great job. Okay, having almost the same exact players by season's end of this season that they had last season is truly something else, okay? Tom Thibodeau was able to take all the basketball talent from those players and use it, okay? And you also got to look at the rookies, Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley came off the bench many times. I remember one game he had 14 minutes and over 20 points. Emmanuel Quickley's quick. He has basketball IQ like I've never seen in my life. Okay, Emmanuel Quickley's going places. Now, Obi Toppin had a very rough start to the beginning of the season. Okay, there's no questioning that. At the end of the season, though, he was picking things up. In the playoffs, he was going off. Obi Toppin was playoff popping. Okay, what Obi Toppin was able to do in the playoffs as a rookie, okay, as a guy who only averaged, 5 points a game in the regular season, he was able to do good. Ended up getting his Knicks high point-wise, getting 13 points one game, getting some slam dunks. Obi Toppin is an alley-oop master. okay? And he really did show in this playoff series that he could get more minutes and perform, which is good going into next season, showing that Julius Randle does not have to be on the court for 99% of the game, okay? Even though some people, for whatever reason, consider this season a failure because the Knicks got knocked out of the playoffs, which I don't know why anyone would consider the season a failure based off of what the Knicks accomplished, okay? The Knicks have just really trained themselves, definitely trained the rookies and even the younger players like RJ Barrett, who's in his second year, how to perform next season. Because I'm telling you this right now, folks, the New York Knicks are going to be a regular playoff contender, okay? And I could see them going and winning an NBA final within the next 5 seasons, okay? The New York Knicks are back. We here. One of the best defenses in the NBA, points per game wise allowed, and then one of the best offenses in the NBA, assist wise and points per game wise, okay? There's no dispute. The New York Knicks are one of the best teams in the NBA. I'm not saying this because I'm a Knicks fan, but you know what, in a way I am, but if you look at it stat wise, the New York Knicks are better. Comment down below what you guys think. The New York Knicks, a true underdog story. I'm your host, Dominic Conwesky, the New York Sports Show. Thank you guys for tuning in video-wise or listening-wise. I'm signing out. Peace.